at this point, like what's going on is we're waiting. The timing has to be right. Just like this phony lawsuit. It's just there to buy time, as soon as they're ready to hit the switch on it, they'll do it. It's all going to happen very, very fast, very fast like that. When they say they're going to flip a switch, that's exactly what they mean. So
do you think that the RV and XRP will happen at the same time?
Yeah. So XRP and XLM and these assets that are going to run the new financial system, they're not going to just rise gradually over time. When they flip the switch, there's a set price for these assets. You don't build a financial system without predetermining the value of your assets, right? What you're going to use, especially XRP and XLM.
Now, how does PolySign play a role here? Because I've heard you mention that in other broadcasts.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's a custodial thing. I think they would run a buyback through it.
Do you still think a buyback is what they're going to do?
100%.
And do you have a number, or you want to save that till the end?
I mean, there's all kinds of numbers thrown around, but what I can tell you, it's going to be a...
But before we get started, folks, make sure you hit the pause button. Okay, go down below. There's a Rumble link. Go over to Rumble and follow us over there. QFS1776.com is, without question, the holy grail of what's to come. Okay, T-shirts. You got to get yourself decorated. This way people will ask you, what is XRP? What is the quantum financial system? What is this? What is that? And you send them where? To QFS1776.com, where they need to immerse themselves, because we're going to burn down this system down to the ground. And out of the ashes will rise the phoenix. There will be nothing to go back to. Believe me when I tell you that. Unified TV will take over Netflix. We're bringing in the next genre of movie producers and storytellers and actors and actresses. And we're telling the story of how the world is going to be on earth as it is in heaven. Jassara Nasara is coming. Don't make no mistake about it. Gold and silver right down below. Promo code Mel Carmine. Make sure you use the promo code. Almost $8 billion in sales. We're direct to like a bunch of mints. We are the ones that can get you the gold and silver directly to your door, okay, at the cheapest price. Don't even waste your time looking for a cheaper price. It doesn't exist. Also, our Telegram groups down below. If you want to learn what's coming and you're sort of a little scared, I understand. Believe me, I was there too at one point. Our Patriots are literally waiting for you in the room. And if you need more than $10,000 worth of XRP or $1 million worth of XRP, you come see me. Send me an email at QFS1776@gmail, and we'll get you as much as you want.
Well, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We're glad you took a minute to be here and join us today. My name is Scott Steele, sitting in for the ever-loving blue chair magnet microphone man, Mel Carmine, who is doing the world tour right now. In fact, we're so happy for him. He and Amber, they've opened up Staying Alive, which is a EE system, 24-unit scalar technology in Chula Vista, and they're making their way. We look forward to, in fact, a few of us may have a surprise for you coming up from the XRP conference in Vegas, where we know he's going to be. But anyway, my name is Scott Steele. If you don't know who I am, I'm kind of new to this space. But Mel, I'm a radio and television host from Los Angeles, California, originally from Tampa, Florida. I'm actually in Florida right now. But I'm new into this XRP RV world and learning along with you guys. So if you're new, just relax. We're going to learn together. We have a gentleman who is an expert. And once again, we want to preface this by saying this is not financial advice. This is something we want to share some ideas with that we have learned. I learned over the past year to Colin doesn't even know this. I'll introduce him in a second. But I was in a car accident about a year ago, actually in 2020. And I ended up with a severe brain injury, TBI. And rare enough, thank you, God, out of that, one of my neurologists told me, hey, listen, don't go home, sit on your hands, watch Friends and Seinfeld and do what you do, learn something. And I had been blessed with a gentleman and good friend, Kenny, who said, hey, you heard about this thing, XRP? And I was able to do my research, which has led me down this road. If you don't know about XRP, if you don't know about the RV, if you don't know what's going on, cool. Tune in, try and learn something. If you like what's going on, great. We're here for you. Tell us in the comments if you do like what's going on and have some more, you need more information. All the links that you need are in the below in the information. So anyway, we're going to learn together, and I am so excited. Mel's asked me to do a few of these now, and joining the show. I've dubbed it the Carmine Connection because Mel knows everybody and everyone. But I heard this gentleman about, 4 months ago, and I was just, wow. And I went out, like you should, do your own research. And the things that I learned from him a few months ago just blew my mind. And a lot of the things that he told me then, and Mel had asked questions that I learned. And again, we're learning together here, but those things have happened. And ladies and gentlemen, he has his own channel on YouTube called 11 Realm. Did I say that right?
It's Elven Realm.
Elven Realm.
Elven Realm - Majestic 17 is the channel.
And the link will be below. But ladies and gentlemen, post in the comments and give a big welcome to Colin O'Brien. Colin, thanks for being with us today.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to be back on this Carmine Connection. It's a good train to be on.
I just renamed it. It was the Mel Carmine show. It's XRP-QFS, and so cool, so tell again. Let's kind of start from the beginning because a lot of people don't have even the little amount of knowledge that I have because it is such a big package to unwrap. Yeah. By the way, don't be overwhelmed, friends. Again, it's a lot of information, but Colin, let's start. Tell people a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So,
and how you found out about this.
Yeah, sure. So, my name's Colin. I'm an intuitive, a musician. I have extrasensory perception abilities. I do regressions. I'm a secret space program experiencer. I also have, extraterrestrial connections, and I know a lot about what's going on with the RV. A lot of what's going on with the war behind the scenes, between the White Alliance and the Cabal. So, I mean, it's really, I guess what's more important is the message, and does the message ring true to you? The messenger can be quite literally anyone. But the important thing is to take the content in and decide for yourself whether or not it resonates with you. If it resonates with you, then stay on that track.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second, sure, Colin? Yeah. Because I think you said something really, really important there.
Yeah.
You're here for a reason.
Right.
God, universe, whatever you believe in, whatever name you want to put on it, you have been led to this point right now for a reason. And Colin uses the word intuition. I love that because you're only by learning this, your intuition has brought you to this point to learn from something that Colin and I may share today. So go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's really important thing to develop and to trust in. When they say to trust your gut, I mean, your gut is correct. In fact, it's most of the time it is. And we got to get back to that. A lot of people. So this is how I kind of separate the two realms that we're experiencing right now, where we have this third dimensional realm where it's a realm that's based in ego, right? Ego think. People think with their head. And the ego, it is what it is. It was, it's part of our development. Coming from a primitive type of life form, evolving into something more, which is where we're going now. We're taking that step through the fourth density and then into the fifth. And when you get into some of the higher vibrational realms, the thinking is done with your heart, and it's connected to trusting your gut, trusting your heart. And that's what 5D really is. It's here and now.
So I think, hold on, you're jumping too fast.
No problem.
Because and by the way, I had no idea we were going this here because I'm so excited about this. I just started my own channel. Actually, it's called T-Form Network, which is a new hip, cool transformational network. So we're vibing on the same level here. But what I'd really like to know is how well, let's start, because obviously you had your awakening before the RV or XRP. Right. So what was kind of your aha moment, your pineal gland open up, or whatever you want to label you want to put on it?
So in 2012, I had a near-death experience, and they told me I was dead for 30 seconds.
Wow.
And then, they brought me back. And, I was kind of already on the path beforehand towards where we're at today. But when that happened, it really took off. And I came out of that a totally different person. I was questioning everything, questioning my existence. And when you question things, it leads you to becoming a truther, because you tend to do your own research, and you're able to develop your senses. And that's why we are who we are today in this. Let me
pause you. If you're comfortable with me asking, that 30 seconds of you being dead or passed away, dead, whatever, what do you remember from that? By the way, are you okay talking about this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And how long of that 30 seconds did it seem like you were, did you feel like you were gone for a year? Time, if you would.
Yeah, I know it felt like longer than that. During that time, I just saw myself. I was about out of my body and above my body. And it wasn't necessarily this grand, fantastical experience. It was more me separated from who I was. And from that perspective, almost from the outside looking in, it just opened something in me.
Did it feel like an out-of-body experience?
Yeah, but I still, so.
Could you see yourself?
Yes, yeah. And you still have all of your senses and everything. You're lacking a certain degree of physicality. So that's really all it was. And then I just remember everything went dark, and then I woke up back in my body in the ambulance. So it was quite an experience. And that day when I had this issue, and I'll be honest, I used to have a drug problem back in the day. I was
Is that how you died?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had an overdose. And that morning I was actually on my way to work, and my girlfriend at the time was the only day that she actually drove me there. Something had happened in the morning, and she needed to use my car. So she drove me to work, and it happened while I was on my way to work. So had she not been with me, I probably would have died, right? Because nobody would have been there to call the ambulance.
Right.
So it was, just everything synchronizes in the way it's supposed to. I'm a firm believer, and, it's something that I have almost seen. We tend to choose our life path before we incarnate.
Right. And who we're going to incarnate with.
That's right. Yeah. So, it goes along with your plan and how you're supposed to do things in your life. And because I'm here as a system buster and a leader and a teacher, I had to come in a certain way and have a certain experience to get me here today. And here I am. So,
and we're glad you are here, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. Yeah.
And again, thanks for, we signed up for this moment, right? And the people watching to be here and to wake up at this time, if you will.
That's right.
So let's talk about, Patrick. So you had your awakening, and then from from here, where did you go, and what led you down the path to? And by the way, I know we're going down this path. We will get to XRP, people.
Yes.
But how did you find out about RV, XRP, and this whole information?
Yeah. So after all this, up that experience, I started really digging deep into the esoteric, and discovered a lot of sequestered teachings and a lot of information that I realized was not in the mainstream for a reason, because they didn't want it to be. And I started realizing that, there is a group of individuals that are suppressing the development of the human being in the collective. And that led me to, let's fast forward to 2016, 45 gets elected. I was actually at a casino that night, and I just remember being very surprised because, at that point I wasn't aware of the white hat military operation going on. So I just thought it was interesting that he had gotten elected. I was always drawn to him being the president. But it wasn't until probably a few years into the presidency that I started digging into the 17 operation. And once you're digging into that, you start talking to other anons and other truthers, and we discover what we discover. And I'm able to use some of my pure intuitive abilities to really hone in on what's signal and what's noise. So that's kind of why I guess I would consider myself somebody to consider. Like we said before, none of this is going to be financial advice, okay? But you could take it as advice in terms of how to develop your senses, trusting your senses, and learning how to separate and compartmentalize signal from noise.
Well, thank you very much for saying that, because I think, and I'll use an I statement for me. When I followed my intuition, it felt right. When learning about things that you and Mel and others I'll just speak to the XRP, which is what I know. And when I followed my intuition and did my research and go, oh, okay, well, this and this and this, and then I felt into it and then made the move, and then followed, learned the market, learned more about blockchain. I was in Bitcoin. I had a friend of mine that I was in LA and kind of in the scene. And so he wanted to get on the air with me out there to talk about Bitcoin. And we're talking when it was, under around 10 to $50. So, I mean, I got in under 100.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah, I did very well, blessed, but got out at the right time too, and smart enough, put it into XRP. So, nice. So was it blessed to be able to have a decent bag to leave with and load up on XRP. So, and feel blessed for that. And again, intuitively knew that was the right move.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was just telling my mom, because, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, 1111, 111, 222, 333. Yeah. And by the way, really cool. And I just have started, like, I don't have, we all have our cell phones and got the time, but it doesn't have a second, it doesn't have a by the second number, maybe 1111, but not with the seconds.
Right.
So I've been recently put in front of clocks that have seconds on it. And my 1111s have gone from 1111 now to my 1010s now. And then I just recently, and I don't know if you're aware of what 101010 is, but it was numbers. It is an amazing thing. And I just started seeing it, and we're going to move on to XRP-RV stuff in just a second, but was amazing because I've been seeing it everywhere, and so have my friends and my mom, who is not part of the movement, not aware of what's going on, but my mom is seeing it now, which is awesome because my mom is staunch Southern Baptist, it just raised that way. This is the way it is. If it's not in the Bible, it's not, it's very hard for her to see anything, that would be considered numerology, which is not of God. That's just her belief. So for her to start waking up has been an amazing, amazing feeling and an amazing thing to see as we start ascending as the earth continues to ascend into this new dimension.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, 10-10-10 means that a sign of completion and karmic completion and moving on to the next positive. So, and I only share that was not a brag about me and my own personal.
No, I get it. Yeah.
But no, I'm telling our listeners and viewers that please understand that it is shifting. And again, you being here right now is so important. And if you feel like sharing this, please share it. Just intuitively know, who do I know that might benefit from learning this information? And don't do again, do what you want. I apologize. I didn't mean to say it like that, but try not to. And I have tried to share XRP, XLM, XDC because they're an easy share around the QFS and the new quantum financial system. There are enough videos to support what we're talking about where you don't look like you're freaking crazy. When you have Wells Fargo and all of these other banks that are signing up, we have documentation that they will be using XRP.
Yep.
You want to share it with your friends. It's an easy share. And then from there, let them develop about the other things that are happening. Yeah. Concur? I mean,
yeah.
So, let's jump off from there. So you found out about XRP-QFS-RV, how?
So I would say the XRP part of it specifically 3 years ago, but I didn't buy in until probably about a couple years ago. I kind of dove into it, and part of my involvement with the 17 board and some of the people involved in the community really spurred me to look into this asset, and it made me truly understand its fifth dimensional nature, because we have to understand that the new system, it's not a system that's supposed to be based in the third dimension. It's a system that's supposed to exist on a higher vibrational paradigm. So, we're going to see all these old systems start to crumble away. And during that time, we may see that same thing happen to XRP and XLM. But when it's all said and done and everything happens, you're going to see those ISO coins rule, as the assets that are running are the rails of the new financial system. So, yeah.
How would you share with someone that only knows Bitcoin, Ethereum, because they're the most publicized, talked about coins out there? If you're not in that world, how do you, in your in the way you communicate, how do you share with them talk about ISO, the 222 coin, the 7 coins, and why and how they work in the ecosystem, if you would, please?
Yeah, I can do that. First, I just want to explain, if I'm introducing these assets to somebody, it's kind of like hearing the truth. The truth, it must be realized by the individual, right? The same thing must be done with XRP and XLM and these ISO coins. You can tell people about them, but if they're not meant to own this asset, they're not going to respond well to it. So it's really something that you're not necessarily going to push on them. You want to introduce it to them, and if they receive it well and they have some sort of vibrational connection to it, they may proceed and try to learn more, be receptive to people that teach about it and buy it. And that's kind of how we have to look at it when it comes to informing people of it.
There's a a gentleman, I don't know if you're familiar, Lewis Jackson, Crypto Lulu, and he has a 15-minute video that he put together that explains the ISO. And I send that to friends with, hey guys, just want you to know, this is going on in the background. You may want to pay attention. If you want more information, let me know. And just as I call and talk to him first. This is what we were talking about. But just as a blank, here's what's up. I'm not looking for a referral code. I'm not trying to sell you, and if they respond, then I know, okay, there's something here I need to talk to them more about.
Yeah. Okay. So when it comes to explaining these assets, first of all, ISO 20022 is a messaging standard.
Hang on before you get there, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Just for our viewers. So the old system that we're going to call Swift to identify, there's a problem with what's going on now. And that old banking system runs on really old technology. It was set up in 1971. Is that correct?
71, 72. Yeah.
Okay. And so if you've ever sent somebody or wired them money, and I'm not talking about through Western Union, I'm talking about going to a bank and wire money, it typically will take 2 to 4 days for them to receive that. And why that cost, and while you and I may not think $30, $40 is a lot to send a money, it's because all of those banks, it has to go from here, this bank to this bank to this bank to this bank. And all those people, they get paid along the way. That's how these banks make money, correct?
Yeah. I mean, it's a fractional reserve lending style of banking. And, while you have that period of time waiting for your deposit, the banks are using your money to make other money or lend money. So, it's a giant Ponzi scheme, and it's crumbling to the ground pretty quick. I mean, we're looking at this rate, probably a default in June. The U.S. is probably going to default in June, it looks like. So, and
the beginning, and it's sad to say, because I hate for anybody to lose their money, but it was the Silicon Valley Bank, for that to topple. It was a positive thing for us to open the eyes of people to say, hey, pay attention, because it could happen. It will happen to all of these banks. Hence why, friends, this new quantum financial system is happening. It is running and speak to that and how it's running parallel, if you will, Colin.
Yeah, I mean, it's been running parallel to the SWIFT system now, for probably a little over a year, maybe longer. And at this point, like, what's going on is we're waiting. The timing has to be right. Just like this phony lawsuit, it's just there to buy time. As soon as they're ready to hit the switch on it, they'll do it. It's all going to happen very, very fast. Very fast, like that. When they say they're going to flip a switch, that's exactly what they mean. So,
do you think that the RV and XRP will happen at the same time?
Yeah. So XRP and XLM and these assets that are going to run the new financial system, they're not going to just rise gradually over time. When they flip the switch, there's a set price for these assets. You don't build a financial system without predetermining the value of your assets, right? What you're going to use, especially XRP and XLM.
Hey, I'm going to save my question, because the question I'm going to ask, but let's digress, because we got away from, let's go back to QFS, which is our new quantum financial system, which all the banks will be running, and they will exist in this ecosystem, which is known as ISO 20022. These are the 7 assets that Colin's going to speak to.
Yeah, so the ISO is a messaging standard for these assets, because we're talking about real-time instant, movement of money. And, the basic ones, you have your XRP, your XLM, your XDC, then you've got your Algorand, your IOTA, and there's others too that are going to become ISO compliant, like XXA, some of the assets on the XRP ledger, like Sologenic.
HBAR.
Yeah, H-bar and Quant.
Quant.
There's others, Corium and Sologenic.
So you think that there will be an addition to the 7 ISO, the ISO 222 coins now? The 7 that are, okay.
Yeah, there's gonna be other tokens on some of those blockchains that are going to, also be ISO compliant because they're running, not on a main net, but on, the XRP blockchain or like the Stellar blockchain or something like that.
So I want to pause for a second and this is a Colin question, not an XRP question. This is more of a spiritual question. So when you're looking at this stuff, do you tap in obviously to your intuition, and do you feel like, this coin's going to go and do you ask God or universe that, or do you just kind of feel and you go back to your gut?
Yeah, there's a level of clarity that I've developed, and I've been given guidance from those above us to help develop it, and it's made me become close to a pure intuitive. So
do you call that? Do you believe that's all source? I mean, collectively, or do you believe they're individual angels or guides, or
I'm talking about extraterrestrials.
Oh, ETs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I have experiences where I'm brought, onto their plane, and they recently I've been put through a couple of different exercises on how to channel my energy better, how to utilize my hands energetically, and how that all connects with your third eye, and how to teach others,
Yeah, I do some light work, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
and I don't have control over when these experiences occur. It's whatever they're, ready to have me do that. And they usually occur on the astral plane. So
I've had some incredible, and I want to share with if you don't meditate, you need to start, at least try. And there's a gentleman that I've had, and some really good experiences with. I have ADHD, and I've mentioned the severe TBI, which is it's very difficult for me to keep attention. And also I'll share a product with you too, but Dr. Joe Dispenza does a very good guided meditation that is, as if you're just learning to meditate, can help guide you, and start with a 15 minutes to a 20 to a 30 to an hour. And I'm just telling you, my experience within the world changes when I do a meditation in the morning. When I feel rushed and I go, oh shit, I'm late, and get out the door without doing it, it's a whole different day.
Yeah.
So appreciate you sharing that. Okay, let's go back to XRP and the 7 ISO coins. Now, how does PolySign play a role here? Because I've heard you mention that in other broadcasts.
Yeah, I mean, it's a custodial thing. I think they would run a buyback through it.
Do you still think a buyback is what they're going to do?
100%.
And do you have a number, or you want to save that till the end?
I mean, there's all kinds of numbers thrown around, but what I can tell you, it's going to be a 6-figure number.
That's a beautiful thing. I'll take that all day long. Thank you, God.
Yeah, it is. And it's, we have to remember that the number of people that own XRP is a very, very small percentage of the population. So
yeah, and
the new 1%, but here, let me just say this. It's folks like us that are being entrusted with, a large majority of the wealth that is to be had in the new world. These past few years of us waiting for this operation are not just us waiting. We're being developed and trained.
Yes.
To be leaders. I mean, we have to be leaders. When all of this goes down, and down it will go, and it will go fast, the majority of the human race is not going to have any idea what's going on. So a lot of that falls to us, and especially, once we get past a lot of the horrors of the coming D class, people aren't going to be the same for a long time. And
you broke up. What the coming what?
D class, because we're going to learn our true history. We're going to be told what this cabal has done and for how long they've done it.
Do you see that as happening in a EAS, EBS, the lockdown scenario that?
Yeah, so there's an element to that, but it's more going to be carried out over a longer period of time. I mean, there are going to be bombs that drop, and you can't just drop them all at the same time, especially with.
You mean bombs as in information, not bombs. Okay.
Well, yeah, information bombs, because of how, just insane some of it sounds to normies. You can't. It's
a big pill to swallow, even in small bits. It's right. Yeah, and the people that are involved and have been involved, it's and until some of it I'm still not, my eyes again have just been opened. So
yeah, there's a lot of very depraved activity, and it makes me wonder. I mean, I think there's going to be even some of it that we don't necessarily get told directly from the top. I think some of it people are going to have to seek out or learn from others over time, just because of how bad it truly is. Everything that was done in our name and to us and to our, ancestors. And I mean, talk about a prison planet, a slave race for thousands of years. And, and
the white men thought we were free.
Well, that's the thing. Like the people that, you want people to think they're free when they're not, because those are the people that aren't going to easily change. They're going to continue on thinking they're free, in the land of the brave and the home of the free. Right? We're probably the most debt enslaved out of all of them.
Yeah, so. It's mind boggling. I have trouble with some of it myself. I mean, just not nightmares are too much, but just it makes me sick to my stomach. I'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
I wanted to share with you as you were talking, and I'd like you to share with our viewers, just as a quick. I'm looking at, and you guys can find this information at rich-list.info, and just doing a quick scan. There's only, and if I max out all the numbers, there's less than 5 million XRP accounts, in the world.
And a lot of those accounts are the same owner.
I've got 5, right?
Yeah, same. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, between my upholds and, lobs, but explain, I want you guys to know, again, by seeing this, one question I wrote down I wanted to ask you. Do you, in your understanding, do you see XRP backed by gold, XLM by silver, XDC by copper, and other metals or other assets?
Yeah, I mean, you can peg a lot of things. I mean, the thing is, like, we're talking about a settlement token, right? It's an institutionally run settlement token, and you could settle gold, you could settle all different commodities.
Real estate.
You can pair a lot of different assets together with XRP, and that's what also adds to its value, because I mean, you could put so much on the ledger, and you can even put all your debt. You can back your debt with XRP. You know what I mean? It's like, you name it, you can run it on the ledger as a commodity. And we also have to remember, like, in the new world, the value of the total wealth. I mean, we got to think about all the wealth that has been recovered that was stolen from us.
And what do you think? What do you think that number looks like?
It's an insane. It's
45
so
zeros.
It's probably it's more than that. Yeah, it's hundreds of zeros. I mean, we're talking so much that you're not even going to be able to put all of it, and use all of it as active wealth.
So Mel likes to say this, and I disagree with. I mean, I just, because I'm not, but so we're a 5 quadrillion market cap world, correct?
Yeah, right now,
as we sit now.
Yeah.
But when you add the unbanked and that and India and Asia and et cetera, all over the world, we're talking, we really could be 50 quadrillion or more.
Yeah, more. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we also have
And
to
then let's parlay that into what the RV is, how the RV works, and why RV actually makes sense. If you would, please.
Right. So if you want an even playing field, you have to revalue the currencies.
So let's start with that. I'm sorry for interrupting, but RV, if you hear us talking about, a lot of people believe that the RV, which is the reevaluation of money globally, and how that would be rolled out. Now, do you believe GESARA is part of that plan?
Yeah, I mean, GESARA is BRICS. If you look at BRICS, it's got a number of characteristics of what we would say GESARA is. So yeah, I mean, it's just under that name, and you're starting to see that level playing field roll out through BRICS, and that's how it's going to continue to go. I mean, there is going to come a time where the Western countries have a similar revaluation or a gold pegging or a commodity pegging to the new currency, but it's all, I believe, even though we're seeing signs of it, there's going to come a point where everything just happens. And they're rolling things out slowly on purpose to get people ready, but it's already ready. Everything's already done. So it's just a matter of preparing the people. And then when the people are prepared, they flip the switch on the global currency reset, which then creates an even playing field where all assets and monies are backed by commodities. Okay.
So which in different countries would be different things.
Yeah, like there's some countries that might choose to back their their currency by platinum or
diamonds,
lithium, or
gold,
diamonds. Yeah, exactly.
Oil.
It just you create an even playing field by not having fiat money. When you have a hegemony like we have here, a unipolar world where countries, there's a reserve currency for the world, and it's centered around one nation, you're going to have a ton of corruption. It's just how it works, and when they can just keep turning the money printers on. Here's the thing: inflation occurs not because we have too much money, but because the cabal has too much money and they've hoarded it. And that's how you see inflation, the scam of inflation, play out. The scam of bubbles popping. I mean, when they build a bubble up, it's a transfer of wealth when it pops to them. It's just moving from the hands of one cabal member to another, so to speak. Right. So we're seeing the end of monetary cycles like that. There's not going to be any more of that anymore. When you have everything pegged to commodities and you have an even playing field with an XRP type of asset to settle between all those commodities institutionally, and then you've got XLM to do the same thing person to person. So that's kind of, I think, the best way to basically describe it.
So XRP is an institution coin, correct?
It is, yeah. It was built for bank to bank back end settlement. Yeah.
And so do you see XRP being realized at that high number while we still own it, or do you see a lower buyback, or do you see how do you see that all playing out? And what?
Yeah.
I mean, do you see that needs to be $1 million coin for institutions that send trillions of dollars a day?
Yeah, it would make most sense because you would require much less of that token. And XRP is a deflationary asset. So every transaction you make, it burns a certain amount of XRP, So, I mean, the higher the value, that makes more sense. And I think in the beginning, you're going to see the lawsuit end. It's going to make the price of XRP go up, and that's where most people are going to sell. And
what do you think that bounce looks like?
I think initially you're going to see XRP go all the way up to probably $27, and then you're going to see a lot of sellers. going to have a hard time, making it over that psychological mark of 30, where you're changing from that 2 to the 3. And what I think is going to happen is it's going to fluctuate a little bit. It'll have another green candle, and then the US is going to default, and we're going to have all these, events occur. And it's, when the stock market totally crashes, it's going to cause, a lot of havoc, a lot of mayhem. You're going to see World War III scenarios play out, and most things are going to crash. And then out of the crash, where your traditional assets like your stock market, your Bitcoin, Ethereum, when they all crash to zero, XRP will too. But out of that ash will rise the phoenix, as they say, your ISO tokens, and they'll rise immediately to the value at which they've been predetermined. And then you have your new financial system ready to go. And then at that point, it's on the white hats and people like us to teach, our fellow man about what this is all about, and, how it's going to work. And
do you have a speculative timeline? When you think this happens?
It's going to be this year. I mean, the US is going to default this year. I'm seeing June for the default, June or July. And when that occurs, they're also it's going to coincide with the World War III nuclear scenario. Yeah, that scenario. That's all going to happen at the same time. So
let me ask you, So I know we say we don't give financial advice, but give me advice, if you would, as somebody who holds XRP, which I don't want to sell any of that.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people have been hanging on for a long time. How in $27 isn't nearly what the value of XRP will be down the road. How would you liquidate part of your assets without liquidating? Because you got to pay rent. Yeah. You got to live, but you don't want to sell at $27. And secondary question, do you see XLM? Do you see all the 7 ISO coins popping with XRP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you're going to see a handful, like all the ones on the list. They're all going to they're going to go to their predetermined value. Like Sologenic is going to be worth $170 this year. And, that's on the XRP blockchain. It's, it's an asset that's it's going to be valuable. But yeah, there's going to be predetermined values for them. And to answer your first question, if XRP jumps to $27, if you want to sell 5% of your bag, go ahead. If you need to make some ends meet. If you don't, just hold. It's going to be frustrating to see everything crash down to zero, but just know that on the other side of that crash is really true greatness.
Sure.
So just hang on tight, diamond hands, as they say. Just don't fold.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when we think that we could be looking at a 6-figure,
exactly.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So how does Flare and Flint and Spark and all of these coincide with with the ISO coins?
To be honest with you, I'm not really a huge fan of Flare. I really don't want to say too much about it.
Okay.
It's just not something that I'm into.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So let's talk about staking and Polygon and Polysign, and how real is staking and what percentage? Is that a real scenario? And does that play out before we have to rise from the Phoenix?
I wouldn't even mess with that.
Okay.
With the market, first of all, it's not ready for staking. If you need to make some money, get a job. That's what I say. You can stake and maybe make 10% of something, but I would hold on to those assets. I would just put them in a wallet and forget about them.
Yeah.
Just wait it out.
I agree.
Keep it simple. Yeah, you don't want to get lost in the sauce with this kind of thing. So.
No, I have a personal feeling that just what you said, I believe we're going to rise to some number, with an initial hit when they flip the switch, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, and especially gamblers, are going to sell at 27.
Absolutely.
Thinking that they think that the crash is coming and we're going to buy back in. And I have a strong feeling
it's not going to work.
That you're not going to get back in.
You're absolutely right about that. If you sell at $27,
you're gone.
You're done.
You're out.
Because you have to remember, the US dollar is going to be no more. We're talking about the birth of a new currency. All right. The USTN, the US Treasury note, it's real money. It's got gold. They use a gold inkwell, and they use that to apply the proper amount of ink and gold to the new bills.
So this is not the rainbow, the rainbow currency.
Yeah,
it is the rainbow currency.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now, do you see that coming in June, July?
Yeah, that'll be kind of what hits first. Because people are old school, they want the cash component to everything. So you're going to see the introduction of that. It's all going to happen once the Biden show sees its exit.
Is that you see that happening June same time?
Yeah, it's all going to when they pull all of that out, you're going to have a lockdown, mass arrest kind of thing. It's going to seem like it's World War III, and it's going to be a major crash. You got to be ready for 2 weeks at home of doing nothing really. So
are you going to be able to get to a store? Is it going to be like COVID? You can go to the grocery store, or are you see us in a 2 week lockdown?
No, I think it's going to be, if you're seen on the street, you might get shot by the military. I think they're going to be under strict orders. Anything that's outside of where it's supposed to be is considered a threat, because of the operations that are going to be going on. It's going to be a very strict time. The EAS is a thing. It's going to happen, and you're going to be told to stay the hell at home. Do not go anywhere. The military will deliver you food if you need it. Okay. It's going to be a very, what's the word? Sticky situation. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what I've seen, through some of my projections, should you answer your door at that time? I mean, I think you just have to wait for the instructions given. They're going to give instructions in the EAS.
You think we'll have internet?
No.
Will we have cable?
No. I think we're only going to have power.
So how are they going to communicate? I mean, will we have phone service?
No. Maybe a landline, but
who has a land? I don't have a landline any longer.
Everything's going to be shut down except for the power. And they'll use Starlink to communicate with your television or your phone to send you these emergency messages. You'll probably have like a certain amount of time to get to where you need to. And then you got to hunker down, but it's going to happen for sure. I mean, look at all the tests we've seen recently of emergency alert systems all over the place.
Randomly.
Yeah. I mean, they just did a big one in Britain, Florida, like Southern
Florida. I know. I was here. Yeah. I about freaked out. It was 4:00 in the morning and that thing went off. I went, oh my gosh, it's happening.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, I mean, we can see the signs. We know that something big's coming. We've been preparing for this time for quite a while now, people like us. And,
so let's not scare the shit out of people either.
Well, it's not to be, don't be afraid. We're not the target. We're talking about an operation that's clearing the way for the human species to evolve, which, for the past 7 times that this species has had an opportunity to ascend, we've been stifled and held back by the cabal. So not this time though.
I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to look at my computer because there's a gentleman that I I got sent a video that is really informative that I want to talk about. But you said something that was so important. Back to the RV. If with the reevaluation of money, how do you see that playing out? Does that happen at the same time they flip the switch? Is that pre-EAS? Or, I mean, the people that have currencies, dinars, dongs, zims, bolivars,
Yeah.
do you see that happening at the same time, prior, after? How do you see that?
Well, the currency reset will happen when they flip a switch. I mean, in terms of like cashing in your currency, that'll have to be done via appointment, right? You'll have to schedule some time.
Do you think we'll get announcements prior to EBS or EAS
for that?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, I think that's going to come after. And it's going to be very strict. I think the reason I didn't go into that is because a lot of people were selling fake currency.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to buy into anything that might possibly not be real.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's just this type of thing is it's such an attraction for scammers. So, I just did my digital asset thing. I own some silver.
Silver, and now so let's go to silver and gold. Which, by the way, Mel would kick my ass if I didn't say link below if you need gold and silver.
Yeah.
Thank you for sponsoring the Carmine Connection.
Story about his big bag of silver he was carrying on the plane. Yeah, that's hilarious.
So I tend to believe in my research that I've done that silver. Do you subscribe to the theory that silver will be more valuable or as valuable as gold?
Well, silver has more applications than gold. Like you can use silver for a lot more than you can use gold for, technology wise. And I think it's very possible at some point after the reset, we see silver is more valuable. I mean, it should be more valuable. Now, one thing I think a lot of people don't know is that the Federation, the ET alliance that we have here helping us, has actually brought other moons into our solar system for us to mine, and they're full of minerals. So there's going to be no shortage of any of that. And
hence our numbers getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, exactly. So
what about the price? I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say there's a lot that's going on up there right now.
That's I was going to ask you the backside of the moon.
Yeah,
you are an intuitive.
Yeah, they're actually constructing not just craft, like mothership size craft, but a lot of the technology, like the med beds and stuff like that, are being built up there. The reason they're doing that is because while they're still cleaning the cabal out from on the earth, they didn't want to trust building that technology here and have it fall into the wrong hands. So because the alliance is in full control of the moon, it's all being done up there right now. So I'm a big Elon fan and
SpaceX. So if we have all this technology, and I just interviewed Brad Antarctica.
Brad Olson.
Yeah. So what do you think? Are you into? Do you know about Antarctica stuff, or are you?
I know about some of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on down there as well. What specifically though?
Well, my question was, if we already have this and we know this is going on, on the backside of the moon, is this NASA and Artemis and SpaceX and us, SpaceX getting to space? Is that a 3D thing?
Yeah,
that will remain.
NASA has always been a front. It's always been a show.
Of course.
They push a show that people believe is real. We haven't needed jet propulsion since the 50s. I mean, the technology that has been developed makes everything that we have here super obsolete. but all the good stuff has been locked up in black projects and unacknowledged programs ever since Eisenhower. When we first had that contact back when Eisenhower was in office, literally 2 weeks after he made a deal, all of that technology went black and it could not be tracked anymore. Those programs are extremely compartmentalized. And now that we're starting to, clean this up here, we're freeing all those different patents and all the actual technology up so it can be distributed out for the betterment of humanity.
Well, I am a firm believer the EE system, the Nikolai Tesla, the center that Mel opened up. When I found out about it, they had one here in the Tampa Bay area. Relax and Recharge. Shout out to Tara. Thank you guys. And I have my TBI has amazingly healed. I was not able to have this. I would not be able to do this interview 4 months ago.
That's awesome, man. Yeah.
I was a babbling. I mean, I was on 280 stations around the world, and I took myself off the air because I couldn't complete a sentence. I
have a little device here. Let's see if I can get it in the screen. This is called a Spooky 2 Rife machine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
I know about Rife. Tell me, what does that do?
Well, it just emits certain frequencies, that.
Will you hold it up again, please?
Oh, yeah, sure. So you can, you just, there's a software component to this.
Okay.
And you choose like whatever the ailment might be, or if you just want to, use a certain frequency to either heal something or induce a certain feeling, it's done through this machine. And there's different ways of application. There's contact to your skin. You can also have, an emitter. There's a whole package of.
Will it work on my girlfriend?
Absolutely.
That was a joke.
You can use it for anything, man.
Hey, I need my girlfriend to dial it down a little bit.
You could do that too. Yeah. I mean, you can program a certain frequency in here to make that happen.
Hey, you got me excited talking about the off-planet stuff. What I wanted to ask you about, when you see us as a global community,
yeah,
and we having $50 quadrillion, how do you see us in? I've learned that we're, or heard that we're going back to 1955 prices.
Right.
How do you see that relating to our economy? I mean, do you see the price of a house, $1 million house going down to 100,000, or do you see it going to 10 million?
No, it's it's going to go down in price. The spending power of the new treasury note is going to go a lot further.
Okay.
Like you said, like 1950s, but we also have to remember this is important information. This new financial system is a transitory system because 20, 30 years down the line, we're not going to need a financial system anymore.
Right.
But what it's doing is it's going to be used to transition while we take that step into fourth density. We're no longer going to need one. I mean, you're going to be able to use replicators. You're going to be able to manifest things a lot faster. There's just not going to be a need for an evolved society to use money. So that's important to understand. They might not be easy to comprehend for some people, but yeah. I can tell you that is the case. We are going to a place where we're not going to need money, so something to keep in mind.
So I know I've had you for about an hour here. Yeah. I'm enjoying this conversation so much, and we have to do this again.
Yeah, let's do it again, man. Yeah.
But I'd like to close out with, and you tapping into like your best intuitive scenario. Where do you see us a year from now?
Okay, so there's a year from now, We're going to have our introduction to the new financial system and the med beds and the medical stuff.
I tell you what, let's do this. Why don't you do? I think it'll be a little clearer for people. Do 6 months and then do a year if you would.
Okay, so let's start with let's go with June first. So June, July, we have the default
of 23.
Of 23, the reset, all like the fake war scenario. And then once we emerge from that, we're going to see our new tech with our med beds and our financial system. So let's say August, September. And by
the way, folks, to the time of taping, we're at the end of April of 23.
Yes.
So we're talking about a couple months here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Now also we have to remember there's going to be that element of D-class where we're going to start learning a lot about what's happened. And that's going to be hard for a lot of people to swallow.
That is declassification of information. A lot. So just again, a lot of people are new to this.
So I would say through the end of the year, into 2024, a lot of that's going to take place. We're going to start seeing early med bed visits. People that need them the most in the beginning will get them first.
Are these only going to be provided by military? These aren't the med bed.
Right.
These are not med beds that you are seeing today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is going to be run by the military in the beginning. Now, years down the road, you'll be able to have your own, that'll be a thing. But right now, the med beds are being used on the soldiers that are fighting this war behind the scenes, and they're being used on the children that are being recovered.
And what are you now? These med beds that we're talking about, the ones in military from off planet, are the ones that are regrowing limbs. I mean, crazy. I mean,
they're the real deal.
So we're going to be able to get our hair back.
You'll be able to program your appearance any way you would like it. You'll be able to age regress. Now, in the beginning, I believe they're going to be used simply just for healing. And then once, things are going to be divided out, right? So maybe in I need to say this. In the end of 2026 and early 2027, we're going to have a major contact event here where we're going to be introduced to the Galactic Federation. And that's going to be our first element of public contact. Okay, so once we get through to that time, between now and then, you're going to see a lot of the healing taking place. People are going to have that opportunity, and then we're going to prepare for this contact event. And once that contact event occurs, we're going to start being mentored by these species that are part of the Federation. And in the beginning, it's going to be just the ones that look like us the most, like the Proxima Centaurians or the
like Elon.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a very great diversity of what ET life looks like, and until people are ready to accept what some of them look like and some of their behaviors are like, it's going to have to go in stages and steps.
Now, is this still part of a 4D? 4-dimension, or I mean, is this are we? I know we're making the ascension to the 5D, but is it so in 26? You still see us as part of a 4D world?
Yeah, I mean, we're still making the transition. We're not going to be into fifth density until after 2030. So, between now and then, we're building and getting ready, and we're going to have this contact event, and they're going to help us prepare ourselves for the jump to fifth density, because these beings are all fourth and fifth density for the most part. Once you get to sixth, you become quasi-physical, where you don't necessarily, you're not bound by space and time, right? So we're going to have a lot of mentorship. We're going to learn a lot about our history, and we're going to have, a lot of preparation to make a big step into a higher density of existence. And just to sort of explain what that may be like, in third density here, we have a 73 color spectrum. Okay. When you go to fourth density, that becomes something like 128 colors. When you go to fifth density, it's something like 256 or something like that. So you can imagine you're going to see colors you've never seen before. Okay. Imagine an existence like that. It's not just colors. It's going to be sounds, emotions. It's just a totally different paradigm and realm.
Well, this is a kind of a selfish question. But how do you see, and let's just go a year from now, as we're shifting, where do you see entertainment? I mean, our television shows are my goal. I've known I was going to be a game show host since I was 8 years old. How do you see the Price is Right, or, those things playing out?
So, I mean, we're all going to have the ability to connect to that kind of thing, but it's all going to fall by the wayside, as we develop and grow. And because we got to remember, a lot of those TV shows are just distractions.
Sure.
To keep us from evolving. So while you might be able to use your quantum laptop to go and watch something like that, you'll have access to it, just for good old time's sake. Maybe, but people aren't going to be just doing that all day long. So are
there some people that aren't going to get this, that are going to stay in that world? Okay.
Well, that's what's happening right now. Like, imagine a train station with 2 tracks. Right now, the tracks are starting to get further and further and further and further apart. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to eventually come to a point where the people that are on this other train, we just stop thinking about them altogether. Okay?
Right.
And they're just kind of fade out of our existence. So there's
but what if those people are parents are and they're not waking up?
It's their path and their choice. There's nothing we can do to change that. It's up to them.
Do you see them dying in one part of our world? I mean,
they very well may pass away because they're not going to make the transition.
And that's the timeline that we're in.
That's right.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So that's,
that's a whole nother conversation.
I mean, there's so many people passing away right now because
dude, one of a very good friend to the channel, Gil, who owns the EE system in Atlanta, Etowah Energy System, his father just passed away, who is doing a massive recovery. We want to send our hearts and thoughts and prayers are with you, Gil. We love you, buddy. But just people are jumping off the planet. I just think, it's frustrating to see, but I saw somebody sent me a video, Abraham Hicks and Esther Hicks, that you can't save everyone. No. You can try, and it's our job. And I thank you so much for saying it multiple times during our broadcast here. It's just our job to help people, and by the way, it was a big step for me to even step into this, because I'm Scott Steele from Hollywood. I'm not, doing.
You see, why it was easy is because you found a way to release identity, right?
Letting go of your ego, man. It's the best fucking thing you can do.
When you become unlimited in your identity, you can make any step anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what you did. Because you're on a spiritual level that is evolved enough to be able to make that distinction, Yeah. And that's why you're on this timeline with us. It doesn't matter where you came from.
Right.
It all came from somewhere and some place and some time.
Sure. We all came from dust.
And that's the other thing too. We're going to realize idolizing people and certain beings or whatever is going to totally it's going to disappear.
It doesn't matter. It's so fun. You know what? I'll share this, and this is a very non-egoic statement. So if you're watching this, please don't take it this way. But I got a comment from a friend of mine, and this dude, I had a TV show called Party Like a Rock Star, and I've hung out with tons of rock stars, Dennis Rodman, Band Live. I not named Jamie Foxx. Prayers to you, Jamie. But out of doing that and boozing it up, doing it big, a friend of mine, James, called me. We used to party till the break of dawn. And he hit me the other day at 4 a.m. thinking I was still in the old Scott. Oh. And I called him during the day and I'm like, dude, the clock exists. You can call me at other times besides 3 to 6 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was funny because I told him, I said, dude, I got this new, I quit drinking. I haven't totally quit, but I'm in control now. I can have a beer without having 10.
Yeah.
and I've started this healing, the EE system. And he's like, dude, I need to do that. This, and by sharing, by having conviction in my heart, thank you, God, and sharing that testimony of changing my life, quit drinking, connecting to God, universe, source, using my third eye. By the way, I want to tell you, I rep a product. It's from Numi. It's a glutathione product that I want you to share with your friends. But it really helps open up your third eye and your pineal gland and just gets you a really nice connection, and has helped my intuition.
Yeah.
But anyway, sharing that information with James, all of a sudden he's like, really, dude, you sound better than you've ever sounded. Please send me those videos. Now he's off on this timeline.
Yeah, because he was receptive, and he found a way to, and that's the thing, when we introduce these things to people, that's all you got to do. Say, hey, this is what I'm doing. And if they're like vibing with that, it's up to them to make that call and to go forward with it. So, yeah. But yeah, man, sure. We should definitely do this again. I mean, if we can get another,
let's do it tomorrow. We'll exchange information. Tell people once again, your website and all your information.
Sure. So my YouTube channel is Elven Realm, like elf, like elf, Elven Realm Majestic 17. I wouldn't say I do a ton, but I do keep up with it. I try to do as much as I can. So you can visit me there. If you want,
you got an Instagram?
Yeah, I do. It's my Instagram is 4, like the number 4, creation by Colin 11. So 411 is my birthday. So 4 creation by Colin 11.
Nice.
So that's my Instagram. lionintuxedo@gmail.com if you want to reach me at email. lionintuxedo@gmail.com. I'd be happy to, do sessions, work with people if they want. So reach out.
Sounds good. Listen, my name is Scott Steele. This is the Mel Carmine Show, XRP-QFS team. We thank you for being with us. We've redubbed it for the Carmine Connection as I'm sitting in for Mel. We wish him and Amber safe travels wherever they are, and wherever you are.
Hey, Mel. Hey, Amber.
What?
I said, hey, Mel. Hey, Amber.
Yeah. And Amber, thank you for keeping Mel on track. Wherever you are right now, we wish you the best, all the best and blessings right where you are. Have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Peace.